Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Nancy Joseph, aka The Dynamic Doc. Welcome back to my channel. So I hope everyone is remaining safe and also remaining both emotionally and physically and mentally healthy throughout these really rough, unprecedented times. Not only are we dealing with two public health crises, the crisis of the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, but also the public health crisis of racism, which has been going on for a very long time. Also, throughout the year of 2020, we have just lost so many greats, so many icons, so many heroes. Most recently, we lost the iconic Chadwick Boseman, who died a few days ago after a 4-year battle with colon cancer. He was iconic, a hero. He played many roles, one of which being, of course, Black Panther, in that historic role, a historic movie, Wakanda Forever. He will always be in all of our hearts, and I pray for his family and loved ones in this really, really tough time. It's just been really rough and really sad, and make sure to take care of yourselves. Take the time, whatever time you need, to make sure your health is okay. Make sure you take the time to reset, to unplug, whatever it is that you need. Don't neglect your health. Don't overlook the importance of keeping your especially mental and emotional health optimized, because again, we are dealing with these unprecedented times, and it's really been a rough year. We're all in this together, and we must stand strong, keep going, but definitely take breaks when you need. Just the recent loss of Chadwick Boseman has just been just another hard hit for us throughout this year. And rest in peace, rest in power, King. And he will be greatly, greatly missed. And it's just been a crazy year. So I'm going to pick up where we left off at the last video. I'll go ahead and link that last video down below, so you can go ahead and check that out if you haven't had a chance to do so. So with that, we'll pick up where we left off, like I said. So rounding out the senior year of residency, talking about now subspecialty, going into subspecialty, applying, more specifically applying to fellowship, and what that process looks like. Well, luckily, the process is very similar to applying to residency. It, in fact, use the same platform. So the one thing you want to, or a few things you want to make sure you do, as with residency, the application opens at a certain time in the summer, but you want to make sure you have everything together before that opening date, because everyone's just going to flood the system and put in their application, and you want to be one of the people that's prepared. So first and foremost, you want to find a mentor that's in that field that you want to go into. Second, you want to have done rotations and have your research project, at least loosely related to the subspecialty you want to go into. But also your letters of recommendation. There are one of the things that's going to hold you up. What you want to do is get a head start on that. Go ahead and be thinking about who do you want to do your letters of recommendation, and you want to tell them early. You want to give them time, because everyone, if not everyone that you're going to be asking are likely going to be attending. They're going to be busy. You want to give them ample amount of time to write that letter and get that in on time. So letters of recommendation, you want to have everything together with your leadership experience, your research, where, if you presented them at a national or local conference, if you got anything published, you want to, of course, make sure that whatever you put in that application for fellowship, you're able to talk about, because, of course, it's fair game. So you want to have all your ducks in a row. Of course, you need a personal statement, and other things that make you look like a good candidate, and to the interviewers. So that's really kind of in a nutshell things you should be getting together way before, months in advance, to where that opening date. So like I said, it usually opens that summer. So usually that last year of fellowship, it's the last year of residency, it's like that summer before. Now, in pediatrics, there are some fellowships that they're kind of like a year ahead of everybody else. When I was in residency, that one of those fellowships was hematology oncology. In fact, you would apply to it a whole year before everybody else. And so you'd have to have an inkling that you want to do that before you even start residency, so that you can be working on that, when you start a residency, so you can go ahead and get that together, because you're going to be needing to get letters of recommendations and your application stuff that you need together like a whole year in advance. When I was a resident, that was starting to fall out of favor, those early fellowships. But I'm not sure if HEMONC is still one of those fellowships that are taking people a year in advance. So when, back when I was doing residency, what you do is you'd apply second year residency, and, you'd match, and then it would, of course, then you'd go through your third year already knowing where you're going, and then you'd go to fellowship once you graduate residency. So, but most other fellowships are, you apply your last year during residency. So during that time, you get everything together. When that application cycle or that application opens, you submit. And when, things you want to keep in mind as far as, programs to submit to. If you have a geographical preference, of course, keep that in mind. But if you are really just kind of like, I can go anywhere, I really just want maybe a specific type of training. Maybe you want a certain ratio of outpatient to inpatient. Maybe you want a certain ratio of research. Some programs are more research heavy than others, that type of thing. And then it also depends on the fellowship. So my fellowship too, one thing unique about the allergy immunology fellowship is that you can go into allergy immunology coming from the pediatric side or the internal medicine side. But so when I did fellowship, my colleagues came from either or. So that's unique for allergy immunology, meaning you're doing residency seeing peds, and then all of a sudden you're seeing adults. But of course in the realm of allergy and immunology only. But it's a unique specialty in that way. But most specialties, what you'll do, or most subspecialties, you'll do that internal medicine or pediatric, and then you'd go into a pediatric or an adult fellowship. So if you want to do gastroenterology, you would have done pediatric residency, and then you do peds GI. Or if you want to be an adult nephrologist, you would have done internal medicine residency, and then you do adult nephrology. So in general, that's kind of how that goes. And so, now we're at that application process. You want to apply broadly. You want to make sure you apply smart, and you want to make sure you save your money so you can have money to go to these interviews, because the last thing you want to do, you don't want to be in a situation where you can't go to interviews because you're financially strapped. So unlike medical school, you have an income now. So you want to be putting that money to the side, or some of that money to the side, so that way you have enough money to both apply, because you have to, spend money to apply to these fellowship programs, just like when you're applying to residency. But also you want to have money to go to these interviews, because you have to fly to each interview, and you have to stay in a hotel, that type of thing. So you want to make sure that you are in a financial position that you're not limiting yourself and how many interviews you can go to. So definitely, keep your options broad and open, and have a little bit of a strategy as to the type of programs that you that you fit in well, and just the type of training that you want. So yeah, those are the types of things to keep in mind when you're applying to fellowship. So stay tuned for the next video where I'll talk about just specifically that interview process and in the match process, because just like when you're getting into residency, there's a match process for fellowship. So stay tuned for the next video where I'll focus on that. And in the meantime, don't forget to check out my previous videos, and please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video. And please remember to vote, remember to stay safe, and remember to please take care of yourself physically, mentally, and emotionally. Be well. I'll see you in my next video. Peace.